what I'm loving and what I'm hearing from you is like just that you're continuously experimenting and you're continuously pushing that creative boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
Not everything makes money. That's the problem, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you get an idea and you just have to complete it. I know a lot of artists that have really good ideas and they don't finish an idea and do it. It's like I wanted to make a DVD of animation, and well, I just started making the animations. I said, me and Jim said, right, we're going to make a DVD and sell that because we want a product at the end of it to
yeah,
sell.
of course.
We sold what we made,
Yeah.
the copies we made, but profit-wise, nothing really.
But at least you know it's something there that you can develop maybe for the future.
Yeah, and for my life, it enriched my life. I enjoyed it so much, and I still think it's a good idea. And the next one we do, we might just redo what we did before. But the problem we had was marketing it. Like as an artist, I think most artists would agree they're really bad at marketing. I'm bad at marketing, but it's great to have a logo. It's great to. I mean, I'm thinking about changing my logo or having a logo because at the moment I just use my name, Oliver Pengilly, and that's a long name to spell.
So you have to think about these things, practical stuff. I love it. Yeah.
You've got and it's taken me this long to realise that Pengilly is quite a hard name to spell.
I struggle. Sorry.
But so like you got to think of these things like what's going to be the quickest way to people remember what you do and who you are, and I think business cards are not that great because. For me to get a job from someone I've just met, I have to show them my work. I can't just say I'm an artist, because if you tell someone you're an artist, they just think, oh yeah, abstract or nothing wrong with abstract, but they have this idea of what art is.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, you're just going to paint red or blue or whatever. And so unless you show them, so once you've shown them and they like it, then you give them your card because they go, oh, can I have your number? Can I have your? So you always have that ready. That's important that they can actually have it, but. I think without being able, so on your phone, if you've got a phone or a tablet or whatever, always have a really good collection of artwork on your phone, like a folder that you know where it is. You can just click on it and say, because I talk to artists all the time, they say, yeah, I do artwork. I go, have you got any on your phone? Can I see some? Oh, no, I haven't got the good stuff on here. And they're sort of shy about it. It's like, well, no, do you want people to see it?
Yeah.
And it's like, you've got an instant gallery on your phone, or you can carry it around with you. And I think that's really important.
Do you know what? That's a really good tip. And I know we're already getting into that already, like, the tips for emerging artists, just because that's something I would never have thought about. But actually, that's really practical for an artist to do, to be able to say, look, I can show you straight away. Yeah. And I know as artists, we're all really precious and we're perfectionists. And it's sometimes really hard to kind of put ourselves out there. But ultimately, if you're passionate about this being a career, you've kind of got to. Do you feel like it's sometimes a risk that you just have to kind of do it and just?
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously pieces of work that you're quite happy with, even if it's for a few years and then you don't like it. So it's having those ones ready to show people, the ones that you do like. If you are a bit shy about your work, or if you show someone your work, no one's going to say that's rubbish.
No.
If you just met them, they're not going to say, oh, that's I don't really like that.
Generally, especially in England, we're quite polite.
I did meet someone recently who was quite abrupt.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But no, I can't say.
No,
who
don't.
It is. But no, there are some people that are quite abrupt, but not really. And like the other day, I was taking some clothes to get recycled or whatever. At this place, this farm I went to, and they had a horse. I said, "Can I photograph your horse? I'm an artist. I'd like to paint the horse." I'm not sure I really wanted to paint the horse, but I just wanted to make them aware that I was an artist because they had a really nice house. Yeah. That's as horrible as it is.
That's so callous, but I understand.
In a way, because you think, I wish they knew how good I was at art.
Yeah.
This is
because they would love it in the house, but
not that I'm really good, but like I'm good at doing some animals. So if they've got horses, they might want their horses painted. So I'm thinking, this could be a way of getting some money. So I know I've got a picture of a horse painting, a really good one that I like. Well, good for me, for my abilities. I've got one that I'm pleased with. So I'm able to, I did actually say, I got one on my phone. This is a horse I've done before. And from that, she said, oh, could I have your number? I'd like my horse done. So you have to kind of think of ways of, like, even when I'm painting in the woods, if people stop with their dog and talk to me, I've got stuff on my phone to show them if the painting I'm doing is rubbish, like that one was in the video.
Oh dear.
And they find, actually, when I threw that out, we were hoping no one was walking down there because you couldn't really see. Anyway,
Death by painting. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so having it handy, having it ready, stuff that you're pleased with.
But that's quite interesting in the sense of, knowing who your customer is and the clientele, because although, like, I know, like, it can vary depending on obviously your artist, and obviously we have our ideal customers of who will buy art and what they're into, but it's quite interesting there because, looking at every opportunity and every meeting as an opportunity to expand not only your art just to inspire, but obviously to generate an income, because ultimately those are the two things that I would assume artists desire. You know, it's to inspire, to have their art seen, but also earn an income from what they do. You know.
Yeah, you have to be like, you don't want to be arrogant about your stuff. You don't want to say, you don't want to walk around thinking you know, everyone's going to love your work.
Yeah.
But you do have to, if you've got a gift of doing art and you know that people have liked your work and this is what you want to do and you're quite pleased with some of the stuff you do, you have to walk around and look for those opportunities and look for those people that might like your work. And you have to be abrupt enough to sort of say, I'm an artist, and also being able to accept you might have to do some things for free. Like definitely, I've done a lot of things for free where I've seen someone, or they've written a book and I say, hey, if you want a cover for that book, because I know where that book's going to go, I know how many people are going to see
clever,
it. So you sort of say, look, I'll do this. I don't charge much, and you might charge a really small amount, but you know that will ultimately be sold, and your name will be on it.
Do you also do deals where you might get percentage of, let's say, the book sales or something like that? That could kind of work, but
Yeah, it
depends.
does. You'll get enough people asking you for free work anyway. So you don't have to really go looking for that.
We've just had this conversation today, so we totally don't go looking. And ultimately, you know, that's the other question, I suppose. How do you pitch your cost and pricing on stuff? Because obviously, I know now you're more established. You're charging more for even workshops and your pictures and what you do. But initially, when someone's starting out, how do they?
It's really difficult.
That's a really tough one to.
Yeah, I started out like 50 quid a painting, and I would do like 6 or 7 at a time and try and make money that way. And I got really burnt out because I was just doing these ideas and just selling them too cheap. So I sort of slowly put the price up. I guess you have to. That's the thing with art. It has a value to it, just for what it is. It's a unique piece of artwork. So it's not people. When you, as an artist, people feel it's okay to ask you how much you earn, and some of the rude questions that you wouldn't normally ask anyone else, but you get asked as an artist, and they say, well, how much do you charge? And you say, well, £200 or £300 a paint, and they go, oh, I don't know. How long does it take you then to do it? And you think, well, they're judging it on, like labour, like how much labour do you charge? Like, so how much does the canvas cost? And you say, well, 20 quid, 50 quid. Well, so how come it's 200 quid then? So how much is the paint?
Oh my gosh, people are that rude.
Sometimes you get that, but they're not trying to be rude, but they're looking at it as a job. Like they're looking at it as any other, like a plumber or builder, and say, well, how much do you charge per hour then?
But what about all the years of experience of like...
And 10 grand worth of debt.
Training that you've done.
Training. Well, for training,
Yeah, I know. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's if I can do a painting in half an hour, and I can do, or 40 minutes, and I'll do it at a wedding or whatever, and I'll charge a certain amount, and you will get a lot of people coming up to you saying, how can you get away with charging that much for a painting? Well, I've spent 10, 15 years practicing to get to to
the point where you can do it at high speed, you can produce something that's amazing quality.
And it's a unique painting, so no one else has got it. It will last for hundreds of years. It can be handed down through generations. I mean, you'll buy an iPhone that's 400 quid or whatever, but a painting that's 300 quid, well, it'll last years. Like,
it's going to be a family heirloom, especially if someone has it at the wedding or something like that.
If it's a good painting, hopefully it will be. They're not just, oh, thanks, Dad. Chuck it away and burn it.
Yeah, really. No, I'm joking. That's so funny.
But it is like, I remember selling one of the highest priced paintings I sold was to a lovely family, but they had been looking for a piece of artwork for a couple of years that they could hand down to their children, and that they could hand it down to their children and stuff. Whether they'll like it or not, I don't know. But it was really sweet, and I was like really taken back by that, because you can tell they'd saved for it and they wanted to buy a piece of artwork, and that's quite rare actually. You'll find nowadays people buy things that are cheap and they throw it away and buy something the next week or whatever. But a painting will last a long time, and it's still,
especially the original stuff. That's the thing that's right. I love it. Okay, so obviously them having to price their work it's going to take time. It's going to take time to get that right, I'm assuming.
You have to build up. And it's really hard to not look at people's clothing and sort of judge how much you should charge them. It's really,
I love that. That's funny.
But it's true though. You do sort of go, "Oh, you just got out of that car," And it's really tempting to do that because because sometimes I've quoted people and they've been like, "Oh, 300 quid, is that all? Is that all? Oh, I'll have two then." And you think, "Oh, I could have asked for more than that," And there is times like that, but then there are also times where you might lose a commission because you price it too high, especially if you're starting out. You don't want to lose the commission. So say a price that you would be happy to do it for. And if you see an expression like, have a discount ready in your head before you even told them, so you can give them the lower price.
I love it. I love it. This is cool. Okay, so because I'm realising we've only got like 5 minutes left already,
oh,
so
right.
I know the time has just gone so. So if you were going to give people, already you're giving loads of top tips, but what is the most important skill then as an artist? Would you say, or a top tip that you would say, right, this is really important that you do or don't do? We all learn by mistakes. I have to say, I've made many of them along the way. So what would you say is the key thing for you?
It's to write yourself like a mandate for what your business is, why you're painting, who's your target market, who do you imagine buying your paintings, why because you might want to sell cheap paintings to people because you want to bless them and give them something cheap. But anyway, write that down and always keep that. That's the reason you paint, because there will be offers from people. I've had offers from galleries saying, could you paint like someone else and have a different name, and we'll pay you 50 quid a painting, and you do. You get offers, these kind of offers, where you're more like a machine, and the creativity goes and it dies, and you feel you're just doing it.
Well, it's like any job then at that point. You kind of lose the creativity of why you were there.
You've decided to be an artist. You might not ever have money, or you might have money, but this is you've made that choice, and you do it for the passion of it, the creativity of it, and just keep going with that. Keep going with what you believe is right to create. And I think that's been the hardest thing for me, because I always want to kind of paint what will sell, or change what my heart's saying, because I know that it won't sell. I won't sell a green painting, so do a purple one. And it's all these little things, and it's staying true to what you originally wrote down. Why are you an artist? Why do you want to do this? And stick to that.
That is so important, because I think also when we know why we're doing something, when it does get a bit tough, and we feel a bit like, oh my gosh, what am I doing this for? You can come back to that why, because we all have those times. And we have the amazing times where I'm sure it feels amazing when you've just sold an amazing picture, or you've just done a live piece of art and you know that it's inspired someone. I mean, that must feel amazing. But then there are the days where
nothing you do works.
And you're struggling, and so you need to know the why for them. And I think that's awesome. It's just, I love it. And I know for me, just on a personal note, and I know I'm a great fan of your work, and any chance I get, I'm always trying to push what you do. But I know for me, and I look back at, I don't know whether you realise this, I remember one day, and this is why I love what you do, and I love your heart for art, because you're not just about...
Heart for art.
I love it. Little time.
There you go.
T-shirt. Heart for art. I'm totally nabbing that. You can have it. Totally kill my story.
Sorry.
And it was really emotional.
Yeah.
But I know your heart has always been for inspiring people. And I remember one day I was having a major dilemma. I was working, I was teaching singing, and I'd really felt like I'd had enough and like it was time for me to leave. And on that day I'd been kind of questioning, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I remember you sent me a picture of a doorway. I don't even know whether you know this. I think we might have told you. But a doorway, and it had like a picture of a tree and this doorway opening up. And you just said, I just really feel like doors are going to be opening for you, Susanna. And I was like, and you hadn't got a clue what was going on at that point. And you literally, I think you'd seen my music page and you went, oh, I really like it. And you sent me that picture on the phone. And I love that, because obviously you just kind of did it just to bless me. But that's what you do day in, day out to people. You create pictures that inspire them and bless them and make them feel, oh my gosh.
Hopefully,
give that hope. And I know for me, what that did, and I just say that, I know I left. I'm not saying everybody should do this, but I left my job at that point, and I literally that week I decided that was it. But without that, imagination wouldn't have been born, honestly. And I'm being really honest. Like that life decision that did
it's
for
all
me
my fault.
Yeah, basically.
Brilliant.
It's all your fault. But I'm just trying to stay in the sense of, like, obviously I know that you inspire people with your art,
really cool.
and you do what you do, and that's what it's about, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I'm going to stop talking. Not quite, but we've got a couple of questions from some guys that have been messaging in. So, I suppose one of the questions, this guy from called George has emailed in. He said, how do you get kind of reoccurring customers? And I know we've kind of answered this in the sense of getting them to spend time with you and doing that video. It's like, how do you kind of keep them? Like, obviously, you get someone that comes and buys, or maybe spends time, watches your video. How do you do that? Like, is that a difficult thing to do, or?
It is. I don't try and do that. I try and go to different places, as many different places as I can, until, because going back to the same place sometimes is quite hard to sell back to the same people.
Yeah.
If there's a room full of 100 people, maybe 1 or 2% of them can afford to buy a picture from you, unless you have cheap prints and things like that, different options. So for me, it's always trying to go to different people to see my work. If someone really loves your work, they will keep coming back and buying from you. I've got a few people that I know who have really blessed me over the years. They've come back and said, "Oh, can you do what?" And they want a special rate, but you know, they.
Well, if they're kind of coming back,
yeah,
you kind of feel
do.
okay
And if
about
if you know they're going to keep coming back, you reduce your price. You say, "Look, I can do this for you," and they know they can give you short notice and say, "Could you just do this for a birthday or whatever?" And if you lower your price to those sort of people, they do keep coming back, and you can keep. But it is difficult. You'll find that people themselves decide whether they want to keep coming back and buying from you.
Yeah.
It's So I just try and get to as many places as possible.
Yeah, because I mean, we've said this earlier, you do loads of live events, you do workshops,
yeah.
and what I love, and if people check you out on your website, which you can tell us about that in a minute, you have prints which are cheaper, like a 10
quid,
£10,
10 quid, 24.
Yeah.
Different prices, so people have a choice, and
so they don't just have to go for the big pictures. They've got everything,
don't,
and I think that's a great tool to have as an artist. All those different things that people can buy from you, so that it's different ways of you earning money, but also different ways that you can get people.
The mistake I made, I think, was at the beginning. I used a bit of money I had to actually get an expensive website made, but I couldn't pay for it to be updated.
Right.
So it's best to start off with a cheap website and that maybe you can create yourself or a friend or whatever, and just get going like that. You know, don't spend too much. I didn't spend too much.
That's a really helpful advice, actually, because I mean that's what we want as well, like for people on Imagination, that they can upload easily and free, but also what's really going to be good, I always say, have your own website too, because it's your online business card in some ways, that people can spend some time with you, they can see what you do, and then they can get your work, which is really important. That's lovely. I'm just looking down some of the questions.
Jim's tweeted in.
No, I don't know. I will check. Hold on, I'll check in a second. What about with agents and stuff? Is that anything that you've ever had to go down, or have you like getting an agent to help sell your work, or have you just not done that yourself?
It's not like the music industry where you get an agent and then you're signed and that's it. You know.
Yeah.
Artists don't really tend to get agents unless they're already selling your work and doing it quite well. Then they have someone to juggle all their business things and set up galleries for you.
Yeah.
So it is difficult for an artist. I've never really had an agent, no.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind one. So if there's anyone out there who wants to be my agent,
always good.
they'll work for nothing for a while. That's fine. So it is difficult. You can keep going to galleries, keep sending your work in. Nowadays, all galleries have like online submissions. You know, say how can I submit work, and you can submit work to as many places as possible. I always do that. Every few years, I go back and do that, and I submit to all the top galleries and things like that. But some of the big companies, art companies, the publishers will abuse you in some way, and you need to ask some of the artists if you can get hold of them personally and ask them how they're doing with it. Get some feedback from other artists before you sign your life away, and because they will tell you how much to paint, how many they need. And it becomes
a bit like the machine.
Yeah, I mean, it's better money, I suppose, in the long run. You get more of a steady income, but it's, you can try both ways. You can. Yeah.
I think it's good. That is awesome. We have totally run out of time. I can't believe it. Thank you so much.
Sorry, thank you.
It's been honestly so insightful. I love it. I love having conversations with you because it's always inspiring. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you. I hope that has been helpful. I really hope that you've been able to take something away that inspires you, but gives you a bit of knowledge about your career. And guys, if you have any questions, feel free to tweet us or get onto Facebook at Imagination, and we are here to answer any questions that you have. And once again, remember that Imagination is live. You can actually get your stuff out there, and soon you'll be able to sell your stuff and actually generate an income from doing what you love. So we shall see you hopefully next week, and hope you have a great week, guys. Take care. Bye.